What's going on out there, everybody? You have made it to another It Starts With Me, and we are glad to be here. I'm your host, Joel Simmons. We have a fabulous show going on today. We've got a great visitor and guest that will be interviewed, Liz Flores. I'm going to give you a great, even better of an introduction for her in just a moment. She's a wonderful lady. So let's get the ground rules out there and just make sure everyone, when you're seeing this, you know, we're on Google, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Anchor. We're also having this pre-recorded so that you can go ahead and stream this on Facebook as well as YouTube, all right, and even LinkedIn. All right, so you'll be able to get this content and really hear about this wonderful story that's coming up. So please like, comment, share, all right? Subscribe. All right. So now I want to also mention to everyone on Mondays, you all know my partner who works with me on Community Beacon, Mike, the real estate king, Mike Seville. He does a show called Motivational Mic Monday every single Monday at 9:00 p.m. Eastern. So you'll be able to catch him live streaming on YouTube and also Facebook. All right. And then, as I said before, the Community Beacon every single Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Mike and myself, we go at it and we start talking about different things. Last month was legacy. This month, we're talking about pressures and stress and how that affects the individual as they are dealing with their families, as well as dealing with their business. And of course, every single Wednesday, we are here again at 12:30 for the It Starts With Me program, where we are looking to explore the transitional phenomena in business persons and college individuals and people with relationships and how they were able to conquer these situational things that happen in their life and still be able to come out successful. That hopefully one of these stories may inspire somebody else. So now, as I said before, I want to get ready to bring on our guest for today, and that is going to be Liz Flores. She is a certified HR professional by trade. She is a coach and mentor by night, by day, all the time. She is ready to be able to give you exactly what you need to be able to help you in those dire instances and coach you into a better lifestyle. She is also the lady chair of the South Orange County PIHRA as a HR, a human resources nonprofit organization. Please welcome to the front, Liz Flores.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Hey, Liz, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's Valentine's Day, and I'm in Southern California, so it's beautiful weather, and we just won the Super Bowl.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so it's a great day today.
That's right. That's right. LA did manage to pull that one off. Wow, what a game, dude. What a game. Oh my gosh. Awesome. What did you have the spread down as? Did you think it was going to be those 3 points or what?
You know, it was a nail biter. So when we did that last touchdown, that kind of gave us a little bit of a sigh of a relief here. And so, but yeah, I mean, they played a great game. Kudos to the Bengals. I mean, they were really on our toes. But definitely it was just an amazing game. It really was. And I'm so glad that we were able to bring it home.
100% agree. 100% agree. You know, Liz, I recall when we first met, and it was so interesting, you know, because you had given me a phone call and you were like, well, I wanted to make sure I understood exactly what this call was about. And we started talking, and it was just a beautiful conversation. And it's the whole reason why I wanted you to come out on the show. And I'll remember one thing of many things that I could think of that conversation. And it was, you were like, the house that I'm living in is something that I never thought I would ever have, but now I have. And you had explained to me so many different things that you were going through at that time. I was wondering if you would mind, sharing some of that today with the audience.
Oh, yeah, definitely. As you can see, part of my house is in the background. And excuse the little ornament balls up on top. It was not easy to take them down, but they add, a little flair to the home, so no problem. Um, well, yeah, let me tell you a little bit about back up a little bit about me. It's part of being a mentor and a coach is part of living some of the experiences that a lot of times people feel that, well, can I relate? Can I not relate? And trust me, I've been through several ups and downs, and probably sometimes more downs and ups, um, to really get to a place where it's like either you're going to stay down or you're going to use those challenges to bring you back up and bring you back up as a more vibrant, wisdom filled, and uh, driven person. So, what happened in my situation and how I landed in this home was really I was in a 4-year relationship, and it got to the point where, hey, what are we doing? Where are we going? What's the next step? And at that point, he was in a situation where it's like, well, I'm really not ready to not, to do anything at this point. And I'm like, well, 4 years is a lot of time to not progress forward. And so at that point, I decided that for me, I needed to keep moving. I needed to go where I needed to go. I needed to do what I needed to do. And so a decision was made to terminate the relationship. And it wasn't easy, we've all been there. We've all been there at that crossroads where it's like either we're going to move forward or, you're going to stay. But at the same time, you also don't want to stay stagnant in a relationship. And a relationship is very important. You want to make sure that you support each other. You want to make sure that you're building upon each other's dreams, goals. And when you don't have that, a lot of times you just got to pack your bag and keep moving. And there's places where God wants to send you or the universe is preparing for you. And, there may not be people that you're going to be able to take along with you. And a lot of times that's heartbreaking. But in order for you to get to where you need to be, sometimes you got to take the journey by yourself. So at this point, I just decided, okay, I'm going to sell my condo and we'll see where God takes me. I'm a very big proponent of, allowing God to give you that wisdom, that direction, that insight, and just allowing things to be, being flexible. Because I think a lot of times we try to control a lot of things. And when we're in that state of mind and that time, that type of space, a lot of times, unfortunately, we sabotage our own goals. We sabotage where we're supposed to be. So, what happened here is I sold my condo and did not realize how quickly I was going to sell it. It actually sold within 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah. And the market right now, everybody can see what the market's doing. I don't know where the market is everywhere else, but here in California, we don't have enough homes for people to buy. So there's where we're at right now. So yeah, 2 weeks I sold my place. Can you be out within like 20 days? I'm like, I can't do 20 days. But I did, so 30 days I went out. In the meantime, I was shopping for a home, kept getting outbid by thousands and thousands of dollars. Obviously, I didn't have. So for the interim, I went in and I actually stayed at a hotel for about 2 months. And I didn't want to do that at first, but I felt after I did it that it was so necessary for me to be in that space alone for 2 months, and just living in a hotel and being on my own. There was so much time for reflection. There was so much time to just de-stress and heal and just really get better at myself and be centered to be able to decide, okay, Liz, what's next? Right? So I went back on the market, job hunted, and again, I kept, getting houses that I didn't really like, but the market was so limited that it's just like, you're kind of like in that desperation. I need to get into something. But I pulled back. I just remember that at one point I just decided, you know what, pull back. Because you're reacting to the stress and you're making decisions based on the stress that you're feeling right now. And so I took a step back. And when I finally did that and I let my stress go and I just let the control go, that's when everything started kind of falling into place. And I had seen the home I'm in right now. It was way overpriced, over my budget. And I was just like, God, this house is gorgeous. It's fully remodeled. Who wouldn't want to have a house like that, right? So what I ended up doing is I hit the like button on the photo of the real estate website, and I just let it be. I let it be. I mean, because I just thought, you know what, this would be an ideal home. This is really what I'm looking for, but I can't afford this. And about 2 weeks later, that alert came through my email and it said house has been drastically reduced, where it fell into my budget. And so I immediately called my agent. I'm like, we need to go see this today. I mean, because that's how quickly houses were like not even staying on the market. We came in, we looked at it, and I just felt a peace as soon as I walked in here. I just felt like this is home. This is where I need to be. And I had not felt that way in any other home I had actually walked through. So everything fell into place. 2 days later, my offer gets accepted. And here I am. I moved it in July of last year. And I look at this home and I know that it was a gift from God. I live in the beautiful city of Yorba Linda. If anybody's familiar with Yorba Linda, it's considered one of the wealthiest cities in the nation. It's also considered one of the safest cities in the nation. So I'm just in awe of what God will do for you sometimes. And you know what? That's not to say that that's the first time that's ever happened to me. He's done it many, many, multiple times where I did not know where I was going to, see a way out. And yet he provided one. Opportunities. He has always provided them. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so blessed. And I'm so thankful every day that I get to be in a home that I actually truly, truly love.
That's that's moving. And just hearing you and listening to how much this affected you. I mean, you hit on so many different things that I've got all these questions that I'm writing down all these questions.
Ask away. I mean, there were so many nights, honestly, because I was just so overwhelmed with emotions that there was many nights where I was just like cry myself to sleep, or I'd be angry or I would just be sad and it was okay to just release those emotions. You have to release the emotions. And a lot of times, if you're not good at talking about something, journal your emotions, get them out there so that you understand what you're going through.
during the time when you got ready to sell your condo, right? You said you decided you were just going to sell your condo and follow God. And you were going through this phase of like self-sabotage, but you wanted to avoid that self-sabotage by letting go. You know, how did that feel? What did that feel like to realize that by chasing everything else and becoming, what was the internal mechanism that made you say, okay, I just need to let go?
Honestly, I felt like I was in the midst of a tornado, and I had literally like no control over when my house sold, when the new people wanted to move in, trying to pack everything up, trying to just give stuff away, um, making sure that, in the midst of it, you're also trying to find a place to move into, and that wasn't happening for me.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
think this is powerful because people across the world are going through, going from one home to another, and everyone may not be in the same type of scenario as, or may end up in the same scenario as you, but they could, because there were certain things that you did during that process that maybe that tells the whole story about why you ended up in your Belinda, versus struggling in a different home. You know, you said that you went and you got a hotel. I mean, how'd you come up with, all right, I'm just going to go and stay at a hotel then?
I wasn't finding a new home to move into. Uh, Definitely not a home I could afford and not a home I liked. I felt like I was settling as I was putting bids into homes that honestly were a lot less than what I got and a lot more expensive. And I just felt like, no, you can't settle. You know, Keep in
Mm.
mind the whole purpose of why I sold my condo was because I ended up a relationship where I wasn't willing to settle my own happiness for. So the same thing applied to me searching for a home. It's like, no, do not settle for a home that you're not going to like living into or that's going to be overpriced just because the market is so, you know, uh, influxed with just people overcharging and overselling their homes. Um, so that was the whole purpose of me doing the plan, if you want to say plan B or plan C, which was to get into a hotel because it's like I just felt like I was rushing through the process. And so I'm like, no, slow down, go put yourself in a hotel for 2 months. I didn't know it was going to be 2 months, but it ended up being 2 months because that's how long it took me to get into my home. Um, and just do things at the right pace. Don't rush, don't stress, because that's when you're going to make the wrong decision. And so being alone those 2 months in that hotel gave me a little bit more time to just relax within myself and just really get back centered. I needed to get back and center myself and say, take your time. If you need to sit here at this hotel for a month, 2 months, 3 months, until you really find something you like, the home you like for the price that you can afford, then do that. What is the rush? You're still going to work, you still have a job, you're still providing for yourself. Do what you got to do, but just take your time. And I got that. I got that. Where I finally started to relax within that environment and I started to actually like it, you know? But I really felt that this peace came over me where it's like, everything's going to be okay.
Mm.
Everything's going to be okay, you know?
That must have been quite the feeling. Many times we as people we rush things, thinking that we're not going to be able to make it. I mean, for instance, people are driving down the street and you want to, make a left turn to the opposite side, and everyone is driving so fast. It's like they're racing to get to a red light, and it's like, just slow down. You will get there. In order to find that peace, that patience, that must have been something else. Was that just all reflection? What were you doing to reflect?
I was journaling a lot. I journaled every day. I journaled my feelings. I journaled the healing process I was going through. I just journaled where I wanted to be, what I was asking God for. I was manifesting. I was, just affirming what I wanted, what I needed. And that's so important. It's so important that we do that reflection every day. And most of the times, I find that, it might be something that you see on the internet. It might be someone that comes across to you. It might be friends that may be there during the journey with you. Uh, it's and I met this wonderful real estate agent that I met through my hairdresser. Who
Hmm.
knew? You know, and what I loved about her is that she understood. She had been through a divorce. She had gone through that whole process herself. She had, um, she was God fearing woman, and so she knew. She's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to help you. We're going to find your dream home and we're not going to settle until we find it. And that's
Hmm.
what I needed at that time. I needed that support system, you know? And she's like, and don't you worry about it. When we find it, I know the perfect person that can do the loan for us and everything's going to come out fine. Don't you worry, Liz. Like I got you. And you don't realize a lot of times that some of the people that you do business with are really people that are meant to come into your life because you need them at that time. And she was a very strong support pillar for me during that time. So yeah, she's like, I felt like I dragged her through every, we must have seen like about 50 homes. And I was just like, I'm so sorry, but I am not one to settle. I mean, nope, nope. She would tell me, nope, that's okay. Because the last thing I want is for you to be in a home where you don't want to be. And you call me a year later and you say, get me out of here.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Because I think that many people don't recognize, if you have that type of faith, which obviously you do, that God is going to work these things out for you, there comes a point in time where you actually have to trust Him. You have to trust the process, is what we say in the world, trust the process. But
Yes.
I mean, there comes a time where you have to trust. You have to trust in your faith, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it takes a little bit of everything, not just your faith, you
Hmm.
know. Um, as the scripture says, if you have the faith but no action, you gotta be able to connect the dots. And it
Yes.
takes action, it takes your work and your effort to say, okay, I trust God, I have faith, but what should I be doing? You
Yes.
know, and a lot of that means to be led, but also paying attention to the little things that come about where it's like, well, for example, in my case, picking a real estate agent. There was a pick of the litter that I could have gone with, but I trusted my hairdresser's recommendation.
Hmm.
She's like, well, why don't you call Sunny? Sunny's really good. She has these great reviews. She always finds home for all her clients. Her clients are always happy. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give her a try. And we didn't hit it off right away because we both have very strong personalities and we both are very tenacious about what we want. Um, but at some point, I'm like, you know what? She's the pro. I got to let her do her job and lead me.
Hmm.
And so a lot of times you need, again, pull back, take a step back, and not try to be so much in control of everything. Let those that are experienced in their field help you. And that's exactly what she did. And she kept telling me, just trust me, just trust me, just trust me.
It really sounds like you built a really strong relationship with Sunny. And I guess maybe part of the compromise in the relationship was trusting that she could do the job. Is that right?
Yes, she's become a really dear friend now. Um, we talk about going to concerts together and that kind of thing now, but that's the beauty of when you do trust someone, and it's not just a business relationship. It then becomes something more. It becomes a friendship relationship. It becomes, conversations that you both can have because there's things within both of you that you find relatable, and you support one another. And now I'm there for her. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and that's the beauty of it. And I do believe that a lot of time God brings people together because he knows that one way or another, out of a business relationship, both of you are going to need to support each other at one point or another.
That's powerful. Going backwards just a little bit, because you were coming out of a huge relationship of 4 years, you know, do you think that in some way, shape, or form, this new relationship that you were building kind of was mending some of the things that were broken in the previous relationship?
If I'm understanding you correctly, are you talking about the relationship that I had with Sunny coming out of my bad relationship into building new relationships?
Into building new relationships, nothing to deal with building or rebuilding the old one, but just that if there was anything that was broken from the old one, that now in developing this new relationship with somebody who is as bold and as tenacious as you are, that you are finding ways to work even stronger.
The biggest revelation I got from ending my 4-year relationship, eventually, it's like, wow, you would not be where you're at right now had you stayed in that 4-year relationship. You know, don't get me wrong. I think for those couples that can work things out and come to a mutual understanding, I think it's a beautiful thing. And a lot of times that's what you believe you have. And unfortunately, you come to find out that, hey, here you are standing on your own. And do you want to stay in a what if relationship,
Mm,
or do you want to move forward and see where God is trying to open doors for you? And so I took that risk. I took that risk. And honestly, I took that risk not really knowing if I would ever go back and mend my 4-year relationship. But at that time, I just knew what I needed to do for me and where I wanted to be. I needed to, you know, take the journey by myself at that
how,
point in
how
time.
did you know? How did you know what you needed to do? What was it that you felt? Or
There's a saying that says, trust your intuition. And a lot of times we are not conscientious of listening to our intuition because the fear overwhelms you. Or the other person is trying to tell you, well, you know, don't leave, we'll fix it, things will get better. And you trust that. You want to trust it because that's what the person's telling you. But when there are no goals, when there are no dreams, if you want to say, that both of you have an alignment, then you need to make the decision where it's like, you know what? Do I let my dreams and my goals go to the wayside to be with this person because this person does not want to take the journey with you? Or do you take the risk and the chance, regardless of all the fear that you're feeling, regardless of the unknown, and just take it day by day, step by step? And so I decided to do that. And yes, was it scary? Yeah, it is. I think every relationship you leave, whether it be a career relationship, whether it be a personal relationship, it's always a risk and it's always scary to
Mm,
take the leap and move on, you know.
right,
Um,
right.
But yes, I think where I'm at now and leaving that relationship, it has opened a lot of doors to self healing because that was necessary. And in self healing, also being able to just love on people, be with people, and just surround yourself with good people. And I've been doing that. And I've had, a couple of housewarmings here. I had a holiday party here already. I invited, a lot of good friends of mine that are dear friends of mine and business colleagues that otherwise, I really haven't had the chance to really just spend time with them. And that's
Yeah.
really of what I'm being more uh, purposeful about is being
Mm.
more of here, centered, present,
Yes.
with those that you want to spend time with and you want to be with. I think that's important.
Yes. Yes. You mentioned the scriptures earlier. One scripture says, "How shall two walk together except they agree?" And I hear that coming through your conversation. I think that's powerful. And for you to make that type of, movement, that type of transition, you know, I believe in this show, we always talk about time and chance. And sometimes people, they don't recognize that there's a time for all things and that opportunities come up. You don't always get a second chance at every opportunity. And sometimes, if you're not willing to take that risk, you could end up risking it all. Some people have decided not to take risk and found
Mhm.
themselves in dire situations because they were too afraid. So beating that fear out, it has to be necessary. I love your story. Really love it. So in reacting to stress, there was something that you were saying you just ended up having to let go. And I think that's a hard concept for people to understand. I mean, it's easy to say, but when you had to let go, whether through your journaling and through your meditations, how did that come about? I mean, just how do you just let go?
Well, if you're intuitive with your body will tell you. Your body will tell you that you're holding too much, and your body will tell you that you need to let go, release, because you're trying to control too much. And that's being the intuitive side of you. I recommend that whatever stress you're feeling, whatever anxiety you're feeling in your body, journal it out. Read what you journaled. And then part of that journaling is what's affecting me? You know, what is it that I'm worried about? What is it that I'm trying to resolve? And put it down on paper. And then at that point, make a determination. It's like that I don't have control over because I don't know how that's going to turn
Mm.
out. I don't have the faith, I should say fate, FATE, to know what that outcome's going to be. And when we don't understand how much anxiety and how much stress and negative energy we're putting into that, sometimes the result ends up being not in your favor because you carried all this negative energy around it. And
Mm.
so it's important to say, I'm letting that go to God, to the universe, whatever it is you draw your faith to, uh, and just it's in your hands. But if there's something else I need to do, lead me, guide me, give me a sign so I know that I take the action necessary to do that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And if it doesn't happen, then okay. Maybe it didn't happen because you were protecting me from something.
Or maybe they didn't look for the signs. They got to look for the signs, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So for me, that's really what it is. And here's the other thing to that. Maybe it's a no right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be a no in the future. Maybe it's a no right now for something else that's in the works for you. Maybe it's a no because you know what? You're not prepared for it. You got to get prepared for it. So there's different scenarios, and I'm not one to actually be in a situation where I take no for an answer. So it's just more of like, okay, I respect that. It's no right now, but I'll come back to it. And sometimes you got to do the self work. You got to do the self development so that next time it does become a yes for you.
Powerful, powerful. I'm so glad you circled back around to that, because earlier you were mentioning that it's not just faith alone, and it's faith and works, and they have to work together. There's something that we all have to do, within inside of ourselves. It sounds like you were finding what you need to do, and I guess executing every single time. Is that right?
That's right. I'm a proponent of part of my mentorship is mentoring young girls, mentoring students that are trying to get into the HR industry, mentoring young women, and I'm the example of coming from a low income family. We were a family of 6 girls and a mom and dad that were working minimum jobs. And, they tried to provide a home, food. I mean, we didn't have all the things, that you want to say that you wanted, but we had the things we needed. And so my dad I learned my work ethic and my tenacity from my father. My father was always working. He was always taking me around, or he would take us around and show us, things he would build and around the community. And he was always a man that, hey, you know what? We're moving out. We're buying a house. Mom needs a car. We got to get her a car. But it wasn't luxury things. It was just necessities, even if it was just a used car, as long as she had a car to get us to school or get us to wherever we needed to go. And that's really who I got my work ethic from, my dad. And I've always been one of those persons that, okay, this opportunity did not work out, but keep going. There's another opportunity for you. And yes, you have to put in the work. Yes, you have to put in the self-development, and nothing is for free. At least I'm a promoter that I haven't gotten anything free. Yet I'm here an example of a woman that is making 6 figures. Why? If I can do it, you can do it. I have had failures in my life, but I have not allowed those failures to dictate my future, my now. And that's the important thing. When we look to other people to put value into who we are, there's where we start putting ourselves lesser than. And you have to undo those negative thoughts, undo those negative, reels that play in your mind. And so that is very important. So this is why it's a passion of mine to teach young women, young ladies, that are entering the workforce, of, giving them the points, mentoring them, and showing them how to go about creating not just a career that they really love, but also the lifestyle that they wish to live.
That is, I mean, if I had a microphone in my hand right now, I'd drop it. I hope that y'all out there go back and rewind that and play it again, especially the young ladies. But I'm telling you, every single person out there needs to rewind that. there was so many gems that were just spoken right then, just dropped right then for people to really make a huge difference in their life. And I'm overjoyed to hear that.
And let me tell you something, Joel. When I have mentored, or I should say coach, because I'm also a coach. Um, when I have coached individuals, and the majority have been women, so I'm not going to lie, we always talk about what is the current issue, what are the current effects of what is affecting their life, or the fact that they're stagnant, whether it be career, whether it be a personal relationship. And what we have always gone back to is there's something that we have not released from our past. There's something that we are still holding on to that we don't realize still affects our decisions today as grown adults. And so when we get to what that issue is and we discover it, that is just a miracle in itself, because a lot of individuals are not even aware that something that happened to them when they were 5 years old is still affecting them today in their 30s or 40s or what have you. And so you need to address that. I am not a licensed therapist, but I always do recommend in my coaching sessions that you definitely do seek therapy if you have identified the reason of why this is still affecting you even in your adulthood. Seek therapy.
Yeah.
It's so important.
That's why you are who you are, Liz. I mean, you are amazing. You're awesome. You're inspirational, and you are a living testimony. I got two questions for you because we're coming to the close. And one of them is, what has brought you the greatest amount of joy since you made this? I mean, really, I feel like we're talking about a couple of transitions in your life. But since you made it from that 4-year relationship and moved into this new home and rebuilt yourself, what has been the greatest joy that you've had since then?
Oh my gosh. Um, I wake up, and not that I wasn't before, but I mean, I'm just like super grateful, super thankful. Um, I feel like, uh, for example, I did a vision board the start of this year. And so I'm being very precise about making sure that I'm fulfilling that vision board. And I'm affirming every day. I'm trying to manifest every day. And I've been very fortunate that I've been able to actually check some things off my vision board already. So be purposeful, be mindful. And for me, I try not to take on too much at the same, too much at one time. Because to me, my positive energy, my peace, my level of stress, I am very purposeful in making sure that I keep that at a good, even level. Um, Meeting with people, having a lunch, having a dinner, um, having people over. To me, that is the essence of what relationships are all about. Getting to know people. Where are the needs? And where is it that I'm supposed to be to fulfill those needs? Not just my needs, but the needs of others. And how can I be of a resource to others? So that is where I'm at right now. I'm really enjoying my life right now. I really am. Um,
Beautiful.
that's all I could say.
No, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. You really enjoy your life right now. That's a powerful
Yes.
statement for people while they're going through their transition, to realize that every day isn't necessarily the easiest of days, and that during that phase there may be some, you will need to reflect, you will need to let go of things, But if you do those things and if you follow your intuition, then you can make it to a Liz Flores day where you really are enjoying yourself. And that's a positive thing of joy, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, Liz, what would you like to leave with the audience before we close out this show?
I think the most important thing is don't let the outside environment dictate your everyday joy. Don't let the opinions of others dictate where you want to be. People that talk about you are people that obviously are not doing what you're doing. And so they want to be in your shoes. Put that aside, block it, block any negative energy, go about your vision, go about your goals, and take them one day at a time. Be purposeful, be mindful, be kind to people. We're all going through something. For those of us that had to navigate COVID, for like example, I did through my company. I'm the one who had to put together all the guidelines and regulations and so on and so forth. It was overwhelming. That was very overwhelming. And I think a lot of times for many of us, we're walking around numb right now. We don't know how to feel. And a lot of us are angry. A lot of us are bitter. And we're taking that anger and bitterness out on the wrong people. So self-reflect and determine, am I mad at me? Am I mad at the situation? Am I mad at the environment? What am I mad about? And address it. Address it. Because all that affects your mind, it affects your body, it affects your health. And so be happy, be joyful, be kind, and pursue your goals, pursue your dreams. And if that means you need to leave some people behind to do it, trust me, you will see the seeds start to sprout that you're planting and the fruit coming about. So take the chance, take the risk. Do not fear. Just do it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Liz, well, thank you so much. We're going to send you to the back. If you want to hang out there for a moment, we're going to close out the show. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for having me, and the best luck with the Tenacity Foundation and all your listeners. I wish you much success.
Thank you. And Liz, how can they get in contact with you? Because we're going to put it in the description. But if you want to put that out there, because I'm sure there's going to be someone who wants to reach you.
My email is exactly how it sounds. My life, LIFE, coach, COACH, Liz, LIZ, @gmail.com. That's the best way to reach me, and I will respond. And if anybody's interested in any type of mentorship coaching, I do consulting on the business side. So if anybody wants to reach me that way, they can use the same email, and I'd be glad to help them out however which they need help.
All right. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you. Have a great day. Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's. Thank you. All right, you all, you just heard that. That was Liz Flores coming all the way out of California, and she's doing wonderful. Life is beautiful for her because she has taken the time to really make the adjustments, whatever those adjustments were. You heard them, to make her life beautiful. Your life can be beautiful. My life can be beautiful. But no matter what, I mean, you have to remember, you cannot let, like Liz said, don't let the outside environment dictate your joy. If you want a beautiful life, you got to make it beautiful yourself. Remember, it starts with you. It starts with me. Peace.